I've got a question for you and I want you to be honest with me. Do your students actually do all the homework that is set? Do they do it in the way you intended it to? Or do they just do it in a rush as you walk into the classroom and start setting everything up? Are they taking full advantage of the benefits that homework can provide? I'm Rubens Heredia, one of your Pavilion EOT vloggers, and in this series of videos we are looking at different moments in our lessons, thinking about how to make them more effective and, of course, more engaging and fun. And in this video, we are looking beyond the lesson itself. I'd like to share with you 5 tips on how to get students to do homework. Want to know how? So come with me. I don't know about you, but as a student I hated homework. Because I was not aware of how important it was for my learning process, it just felt like an extra burden, something that would reduce the already precious little time I had for fun. Honestly, I just did it because I was supposed to, and would face problems if I didn't. Now, I do understand the importance that revising and recycling what we learn can have, but convincing students to actually do it, especially in contexts where homework completion is not part of the assessment, can be quite tricky. So let's cut to the chase. Tip number 1, let students choose their homework. As teachers, we are responsible for making planning decisions and selecting the tasks and activities that will be used both in the classroom and for homework. However, allowing students to make choices, even if limited ones, may lead to a higher sense of agency and therefore more motivation. According to Stephanie Hirschman, incorporating learner choice during lessons and for homework or independent study clearly supports differentiation and promotes independent learning. It also opens up possibility for a productive dialogue between teacher and learner to emerge, either informally or formally. Handing over to students doesn't necessarily mean allowing them to make all the decisions. After we identify what skills or language items students would benefit from working on at home, we can pre-select some activities and let students decide which ones they want to use. With more mature learners or those who have more developed learning skills, we can take this even further. For example, we can assign as homework the research and selection of a video on a certain topic to be watched by the other students at home or in a subsequent lesson. If students set the homework themselves, they probably have fewer objections to doing it. Tip number 2, don't use homework as punishment. We've all done that at one point or another, giving extra homework to students who misbehave or reducing homework for students who display a more positive behavior. In an article for English Teaching Professional, James Hill makes an interesting point. According to him, in the long term, it could be counterproductive. We are trying to send the message that homework is something beneficial that will help the students achieve their goals. But then we use it as a punishment. By doing this, we are sending out mixed messages. So try to resist the urge to use homework as a punishment. Develop some other sanction for those who misbehave and try to make homework as enjoyable as possible. Many of our students already come to us with preconceived notions of what homework is, and usually not very positive ones. Maybe their experience at school has involved a lot of dull, repetitive work, like mine did. Maybe they generally don't have the time and get frustrated, or they may even face lots of difficulties dealing with the tasks without the support of the teacher or their colleagues. Making homework enjoyable in cases like this may seem like a tall order, but the more you understand the students' needs, out-of-class context and learning preferences, the more you will be able to help them adjust their mindset and see the relevance and importance of doing homework. Tip number 3, use a variety of tasks. Many factors like the school curriculum, the materials students have access to, or the materials we have access to, influence the decision on what type of tasks and activities to set as homework. However, we should be careful not to always assign the same type of homework to our groups. Not only does it make the work repetitive, but also predictable, which may lead to lack of motivation to engage with the homework. According to Gargi Sakar, to make homework both fun and effective, it's essential to set a variety of assignments focused on extending the students' understanding of the content they have studied in class through meaningful activities. This should prompt higher-order thinking rather than being tedious drills. When he talks about prompting higher-order thinking, he's making reference to Bloom's taxonomy of educational goals, which you might be familiar with. The types of tasks that promote a higher order thinking are analyzing, or trying to understand how different concepts relate to one another, evaluating, or making judgments based on a criteria or in standards, and creating, putting elements together to form something new. However, Activities that involve lower order thinking skills and which focus on helping students memorize words, for example, also have their place in homework. It is the balance between these two types of activities that require the use of different skills that has the potential to improve learning and lead to more success. Tip number 4, foster teamwork and collaboration. The archetypical homework activity is probably a very controlled practice activity in a workbook, something that students do on their own, but it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, one of the motivating factors for students to do the tasks might be the possibility of interacting with peers outside the classroom time. According to Enda Scott, modern technology offers lots of alternatives to more traditional written homework activities. Presentations, recordings, images, online posts, and collaborative work can all provide interesting tasks which can be usefully exploited in class. All of these options offer a degree of personalization which will make homework more meaningful and motivating for the students. There are a number of digital tools and online platforms that can help you set the homework online and also encourage collaboration among the students from the same group. Getting students to actually start using these platforms can pose some challenges, especially if your students are not very tech-savvy. Some learner training may be required, such as a walkthrough of the platform or a demonstration session in one of the lessons. But besides helping students navigate and actually use the platforms, I think that one of the crucial elements for students to really buy into the idea of using such tools is consistency. If you use it only a couple of times or without a clear purpose, students might end up rejecting the idea altogether. Tip number 5, make homework relevant. Our biggest concern is usually getting students to actually do the homework. This is in the title of this video even. We can plan appropriate homework that is beneficial to the learner's development, but if they don't do the task proposed, such benefits cannot be reaped. According to Michael Thompson, for homework to be successful, it needs to have meaning. At one level, homework is meaningful when there is a direct relationship to what goes on in the classroom. A clear stated purpose also generates meaning. Explaining to students that the assignment is designed to give them additional practice or preparation for the next class lets them know why the assignment is important and why they need to do it. Most course books we adopt already have integrated homework that is generally quite helpful. Homework can be easily supplemented by adding reading or listening on the topic of the lesson, as well as activities that will help practice the target language dealt with in the classroom. I really appreciate Thompson's idea of raising awareness of the activity's purpose, especially when dealing with adult learners. Adults typically want to know the reason why they are being taught something, which is sometimes referred to as "what's in it for me?" Understanding the benefits they will gain from doing specific homework activities can be a great source of motivation to students. I'd also add that some reflection on whether students found the homework activities useful and why after the homework is checked can also contribute to make homework more relevant and meaningful to our learners. I hope these tips help you not only add variety to the type of homework activities you assign, but also spark your curiosity to experiment with new ideas. We'd love to hear from you. What are your strategies to get students to do the homework? Sound off in the comments below. And you can also contact me on all social media at WhatIsELT. Keep learning and keep teaching.